Thank you, KCIW, for being here in the Curry Coast Community Radio. We are at 100.7. I am Amanda Whittemore, the radio voice for quality living with peaceful support. Here on this show, we find unique, fun ways to amplify quality living, especially in a peaceful way. Myself being a geometric yoga teacher, I tend to find it unique within each individual each time we practice. And it brings a sense of joy and achievement to all that are participating, just like listening here to this program. Today, we have a very fun guest, one of our neighbors here to the KCIW station. Just right up on Main Street is the Whimsical Griffin. And I will attempt to announce this magical Italian name of Vincent Chiantelli. However, I will have him say hello and introduce himself and properly announce his name.
Yes, you were pretty close. It's Vincent Chiantelli. My family came from northern Italy in Bolzano, Tuscany area. So, yeah.
Nice.
No.
Tuscany.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us, did you ever get to visit there?
No, but I would love to. My grandfather visits there every once in a while. And I remember seeing pictures of him in the streets, his arms spread wide, and he's only got a few inches between the walls of the buildings. So that tells you how narrow the streets were in Bolzano.
Bolzano,
Yeah.
Wow.
A lot of people mistaken Bolzano with Bolzano.
Uh-huh.
They're different areas of Italy.
Oh, okay, so they're both a location.
Yes.
Okay. Is one larger than the other?
Where my grandfather came from, Bolzano, is a very tiny little cottage, small town at the very top of the boot of Italy.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
So.
Kind of like our cute little small town right here at the tip of Oregon.
Exactly.
How did you find Brookings, or how did you find Oregon from your family's history?
Oh, my goodness. That's a long story. Originally, I mean, if you want me to go way back, I was raised on a Arabian horse ranch, my family's horse ranch, for 15 years of my life until my parents split. We lost the ranch. So eventually, after gaining 2 degrees at the college in my hometown of Ukiah, California, my mom and I moved up to Bend, Oregon. And so it was an interesting move going from California to Oregon. It's a much bigger town, and work was not the easiest to come by, believe it or not. So I was just an independent entrepreneur, just doing my own thing. And 6 years later, I decided to go to Southern California to get a degree in game art and design for getting my BA. And, well, long story short, things didn't plan out, but I did graduate, not with the degree I wanted, and worked in the film industry for a little over a year. And then California got a little too expensive, and I moved up here to Brookings and moved in with my dad, been helping him out, and I've been here for about 10 years now.
10 years in the area. That is fantastic. Man, which degree did you end up with achieving?
Well, it's a fine art degree.
Okay.
It's a BA in fine arts. I was hoping to get a game art design to do concept art and character creation, but the college was not very helpful. And so, yeah.
Can you tell the listeners about I'm unfamiliar with what is, I get the idea of character create.
Concept art?
Concept art. Creating characters and things like that. What exactly would you be doing with that degree?
Basically, we learn how to design a character and through what they call thumbnail images. And you get an idea of what they look like by creating multiple pictures and then kind of focusing on which ones have the best silhouette. We start out with silhouettes, so if they have a good silhouette, that's probably a good design. And then we kind of go off of that and we start doing the details and bringing character and personality into it. and creating and fleshing out the character. For 3D concept, like I worked in Maya and 3D Studio Max. Maya was my favorite because it was more user-friendly. These are 3D graphics programs they used in the game industry.
Okay.
And so you can take a concept art and then move it into the 3D realm. So you work in both 2D and 3D, and that's kind of what they do with a lot of video game companies. And also, like Gnomon College, which was another one in a different area, they did a lot of 3D stuff, and they actually worked on Spider-Man and a whole bunch of other movies. But I went to Laguna College of Art and Design.
Nice.
But basically, the concept of creating characters was kind of one of my dreams, as well as working for the movie industry.
Okay.
And, just didn't pan out.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it just...
Went a different direction.
Yeah. 2 years into it, there was I don't want to speak bad of a school, but it got to a point where the stress was a little too much, and the instructor at the time would not help his students.
Right.
Basically, if you fall behind, tough luck is what he said. And
some do that out there, you know?
Yeah. And so I had to either pay for a whole new semester or change my major and have all my credits go into that.
Ooh.
And fine art was the one where all my credits could go into it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, glad that there was something that could amplify all the work that you've done.
Yeah, true. And, I got to enjoy working in the movie industry 3 years later.
Really?
As a creature performer. And I worked with props and a lot of the other stuff, the molds and the castings.
Okay. On which size?
We're talking like actors.
Oh, that's a pretty big size.
Yes. I worked for animal makers. So animal makers, you see these commercials where there's like a cat and it's typing on a computer, or there's a crocodile that's swimming across a pool or something. Those are all latex rubber props. And some of them have an armature inside of them. And Animal Makers is the company I worked for to start out with.
An armature?
It's like a metal or plastic bone structure that is inside of think of it like a puppet with a bone structure that you can control, or something that gives it some fluidity and movement.
Right.
And good example, Jurassic Park. Some of the dinosaurs were robotic, animatronica. And they have a skeletal armature that has actuators or motors that are remote control attached to that armature. And that's how they controlled it. And usually it was 3 or 4 puppeteers running this dinosaur.
Animatronica.
Yeah.
That sounds like a character in itself.
I know, right? So it was a blast. I worked with Stan Winston School of Character Arts with Matt Winston. He's a character.
Okay.
He loves to act, and we were working on a video DVD compilation called How to Make a Monster. And it was a kaiju film, Godzilla-type creatures. And we were 2 teams building a kaiju monster. One team was doing an aquatic one. The other one was kind of like this sludge creature with multiple mouths on it, which was in our group. And they needed someone to act in it, and I was the only hand that raised. So I got to work in the big, creature, and then the aquatic one was a friend of mine, Brian, who was able to act in that one. So we had a blast doing that.
That's really, really exciting and fun. And that was in the LA area?
Yes, thereabouts, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And because that was also done in the New Deal Studios. So we were using their space, but Stan Winston School of Character Arts was also a part of that team. And you can actually find their video on their site.
Stan
Winston School of Character Arts.
Stan Winston School of Character Arts.
Yeah.
And so Matt Winston is...
Matt Winston was Stan Winston's son. So Stan Winston was the brainchild of Jurassic Park, the dinosaurs, and he made it possible to create these monsters for Predator and so many Terminator and so many other movies. It's Stan. It was amazing. And Aliens was another one.
Yeah.
So. It was a pleasure to work with his son. Stan Winston passed several years prior to me actually being able to get into the industry.
Okay.
But I really looked up to what he did for the people, bringing imagination to life, And so it was a pleasure to work with Matt Winston, as well as the guys at Amalgamated Dynamics. We worked on another film called Harbinger Down.
Harbinger
Down.
Mm-hmm. Is that something listeners can search and find?
It was on Netflix for a short while. It's online still, and it's a homage to The Thing, Aliens, and just kind of, you'll see a lot of what they call Easter eggs built into the film. Mm-hmm. So if people remember the little dipping bird thing, and it's like I think it's a Mercury-type bird, and it rocks on a pendulum, and it dips its beak in water, and then it rocks back and forth.
Okay, right.
Yeah. Well, that was in the Alien movie.
Uh-huh.
They had it in this movie.
Okay.
So, and a suitcase, LV-421 or something like that, I forget the name, was written on the suitcase, which was the actual, I think the name or number of the spaceship in the Alien film.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, so they did a lot of stuff like that, and it was just a full-on horror. It was amazing. And it was to prove you don't need computers to create a movie.
Huh.
You don't need to have a digital monster. This is all practical effects. And this is what we believe in. You can create a movie monster without having to put it on a computer and have someone work against a green screen.
Right. That is so nice to hear to, everyone who's just inundated with, computers and algorithms and CIG and learning all the software and the programs, and then 20 years later they've never even done anything because they're still studying all the information.
Yeah.
When they can just get their hands out there and use real props. And tell us the name of the movie again.
It was Harbinger Down.
Harbinger Down.
Yeah, and the first one that I worked as in the kaiju film was called Kaiju Fury. But it is very difficult to find on the internet anymore. You can get the DVD from Stan Winston's school.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so if anybody out there interested in learning a little bit more and seeing that in real action, those are available for viewing. This is really fun. So how did your store, the Whimsical Griffin, come about here in Brookings? Tell us that tale.
Well, I was selling my artwork and my arts and crafts over at the farmer's market for several years, actually, and made a lot of friends there. I loved it.
I think that's where we first met.
Yeah, I think so, And it's a blast just meeting people and just getting to relate to, it's amazing how small this world really is. Mm-hmm. It's like I've run into people up here when I was at the farmer's market that came from my hometown.
Really?
Yeah, and that's a 5-hour drive.
Whoa, yeah.
And it's so funny, just so many things that we can relate to. And I love the farmer's market. The people there were nice. The food was great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course, yes. That's our favorite part.
Oh, yes. And at the time, it was a big white tent that we were all in. And it's, God, some of the winters were harsh winds, and that tent's flapping around.
And some flooding spots, I remember.
Oh, God, yeah. But, we made it work. And,
yes.
I mean, it was amazing. And, but, as with all things, suddenly, this pandemic hit, and we all could feel it. It was the energy just kind of was like a big weight, and we tried to make it all cheerful and fun, and and I was thinking, well, maybe I can do more, and so a friend of mine, Karen, she runs Sweetly British in town.
Sweetly British.
Yes.
And what is this?
It's a sweets shop. Oh. And all her stuff is imported from England, and the candies and sweets are basically, they taste sweeter than ours, but they're far healthier because they don't have all the chemical stuff that American food has. And
this is over off of Benham Lane, if I remember, West Benham?
It's where the old shopping center is in Harbor.
Harbor. Okay.
You know where the roller rink was?
Yes.
That you got that, there's a barber at the end of that building.
Yep.
And just on the side of that building is another shop.
Oh,
that's
really?
her shop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's, yes. I need to go. We all must go say hi to her.
Oh, yeah. And she's a sweetheart. I mean, she's wonderful personality, and I've known her for years, and I definitely recommend going down there if you got a taste for sweets.
Thank you.
And but yeah, we're both kind of thinking about finding a place because we both sold at the farmer's market.
Right.
So we looked around, and there was a couple options, but just nothing quite fit what I was looking for. So I kind of scouted out and found one up on Chetco Ave. And I saw it. I took a picture of it. And was like, okay, I'll put this in the back of my mind. And a friend of mine showed me the same place a week later. So it's like, okay, something's telling me I should do this. So I talked to the property manager, and it was a killer deal. And so I was like, okay, let's do this. Technically, it cost twice as much as the farmer's market for me because I was only doing 2 days a week at the farmer's market. I could do 5 or 6 days a week for twice as much. I mean, no brainer.
Right.
So
that makes sense. Yeah.
So I just brought in my artwork, and I had a few tables. So it was kind of just, there's not much there. But I was glad to start. And then with people's suggestions, and it's like, hey, do you carry Pokemon? And it's like, is that still a thing?
Right. Yeah. The all ages love it.
Yeah. And it's like, well, let me see if I can get that. So I started bringing that in. And then people say, do you have Funko Pops? Do you have board games? So everybody was giving me, it's like advice and ideas. And it's like, if not for the community of geeks and gamers and nerds and just all of us people who just love to just have fun.
Brainiacs and
Exactly.
gamers. Oh,
it's, I got the ball rolling, but they helped with that. And it was just amazing. And what started out with an idea, and it turned into a passion. And so that space was about 220 square feet, and I crammed as much as I could in there. 2 years later, my friends that were next door, they were a medical office for sleep apnea, sleep therapy.
Okay.
They found a bigger place up on Oak Street.
Oh.
So the property manager knew I wanted that space if it became available. So I got it, and it was 380 square feet. And that I needed to move my stuff in about a week or two. Well, the gamers, because I did Friday night game nights, they said, dude, we'll help you. And it's like, okay, I posted on our Discord, it's like, oh, if anybody wants to help out, I'm going to be moving stuff on, such and such a day. I didn't have 1 or 2 people. I had 8. And these guys are twice my size. I mean, they moved the cases, and they helped me move everything. And it's like, oh my God, I wouldn't have been able to get this done in a day. I got it done in just a couple hours. That's moving the cases and everything. And it's like, this tells you how nice the community is here. I mean, and this is why I love Brookings. It's a small town. I can't stand to live in a big city,
Ever again, right?
No. No big cities for me.
Right.
I was raised in a small town. I plan to go in a small town,
Exactly,
when I'm 110,
Right. You've definitely have won the hearts of the community for sure, and it shows by the expansion and the growth and the fun activities that you have and the support. And we're glad to hear that. That brings up the question, how would you talk about, or how would you describe the word quality?
Quality is one of 2 things, I believe, is, quality of product. If you have a product or make a product, it's got to last. It's got to be of good materials and good quality, and you got to put your heart and soul into it. The other quality is the quality of your environment and how you treat your customers. It's you're not going to do well if you're just going to be a cold, sterile corporate entity shop. It's like, okay, there's shelves, there's product. No, you got to make it feel like home. You got to it's when people come in the shop, it's like, hey, how's it going? You want to learn about people. You want to bring them into, the place as if it was home. And, too many places these days is just like, they don't even want to deal with you. It's just like, come in, spend your money and go, And I'm not like that. I'm like, hey guys, I got fresh brew of coffee in the back. You want some?
Yay.
I offer free coffee if you want it. If you want to just get out of the rain, that's great. If it's a somewhat muggy day, and you're not prepared, and all of a sudden it's torrential rain's coming down, I have a couple umbrellas in the back that you can use.
Sweet.
It's like it's all about familia, family, And that's kind of how I feel, the thing about quality of the shop and the energy that you put out. That's what it's all about. We can't be a number.
No.
We have to support each other, and positive energy brings more positive energy.
It does. It really does. And with game nights, tell us about game nights.
Oh my goodness. It started out with Dungeons and Dragons and Magic the Gathering, and I haven't played D&D for 12 years, and so it was nice to get back into it. Mm-hmm. And in the small space where we did it, oh my God, we could barely cram in like 8 people. So I'm glad I got the new space, which we can put 16 people. Yeah, and 3 tables, 18 chairs, yeah. And so usually if we have open game nights, we got Magic players, we've got board gamers, and it's like, hey, what game do you want to play? And it's like, hey, I brought this one. Players, the Catan seems to be a popular one with some people, and others is like, House on Haunted Hill, tile games, where you never know what you're going to get. You have to hide from the monster or be able to defeat the monsters. And there's just so many various games, it's hard to list them all. So it's all about just, having fun. And with Dungeons and Dragons, we've got 4 campaigns going on. My God, it's hard to keep track.
Oh my gosh!
And so we got like, oh my gosh, they're all great dungeon masters, and they've been doing it for a few years, and a couple of them are just new at it, but they just love doing it.
That's so fun.
And, I always play a healer character. I'm not one of those, barging with swords and shields and slicing away and, attacking. It's like, no, I'm the druid in the background where it's like, okay, I got my good berries, my healing touch, and my healing word. It's like, okay, if you guys start getting hurt, I'm going to start healing and making sure you guys stay alive.
Oh,
and
yay.
if I have to, I'll do my spells to, slow down the attack, or I might go in and poke a little bit and then run and then heal.
Right.
And I could shapeshift. So if there's gets to a point, all of a sudden I'll turn into a giant basilisk lizard or something like that. And it's like, okay, time to get in there. But it's a blast. It's like the Dungeons and Dragons is like a game where we play a human character every single day.
Every day we wake up.
Yeah, exactly.
We decide what clothes we're going to put on. That's the first step of coming into character.
Exactly. And it's just like it's a blast to play Dungeons and Dragons or any other game, because you are playing a character that you wouldn't otherwise be able to do in real life, except for unless you're a cosplayer, which I've done. You make costumes and you go to conventions, and it's a blast.
It's so much fun. I love it. Yes. I do that.
So yeah, it's there's so much to tell, but we have so little time.
I know. We have so you are affiliated with just because it's a rising in game conversation right now, I want to call it the GameCon, MegaCon. What is it called?
The Harbor GameCon.
Harbor GameCon. Are they going to be doing that this year?
We did it this year. We're going to actually do it next year. Yeah, in 2024.
Okay.
We are doing it. And if we can find a bigger space, we're going to get it. But if we can't, we'll try and get the Grange again. And yeah, we're gonna have a blast. And like I said, we're going to have a cosplay contest. We're going to have a video game battle royale. I'll put up what games and systems people are up for playing. I'm guessing the popular one's going to be Super Mario. I forgot what it is. The battling one.
Okay.
Super Smash Brothers. That's what it's called. Yeah. Yeah. So Super Smash Brothers. There's probably going to be Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter or something like that. But there's so many, and I'll provide the TVs and the game systems and stuff, and because I got a couple.
Yeah.
And we're just going to have a blast. But we had such a big group of people coming in. Where, like I said, if we can find a bigger location, we'll get it. But if not, right now, it's still going to be the Grange.
Just because this was brought to my attention last night, literally, some community members and members of the Elks Lodge says, "Hey, Amanda, we are here for the community, and we really want to be recognized for that, and we want to provide our venue and our services to more community activities. Will you send them our way?" So I will definitely send you their way.
Okay, that's a possibility.
Yeah.
And funny thing is, I'm also an elk.
Okay, well, that makes it even more fun. So get in there to the board meeting and present the idea, and let's get the big venue.
Yeah, I'll definitely give them a talk and see what we can do, because they do have a big space.
Oh, yeah, quite a few of them.
Yep, and they do have decent parking, too.
Yes. How fun.
So...
Yeah, the turnout that happened 2023, I was so lucky and glad to be there and participate. I got to go in just for a minute, but the amount, like you were saying, the amount of people that showed up and the attention, it was so much more than we could have ever imagined.
Exactly. And we definitely thank the community for attending, and also the small shops that actually donated food, and the theater gave popcorn, and the Honeybee Bakery gave donuts, and it just like, so there was so much support, and it was just amazing,
Good.
and I'm so glad we started this up, and, we got that for the community, and some
people out there are saying to themselves, they want that and they need that. They're all about it. But how do you activate peaceful support that affects the community in the ways that you've received?
Oh my gosh. How do I
activate the peaceful support? How does it just come?
Word of mouth, usually. A lot of people, believe it or not, are not on Facebook.
Right.
Especially in this town. But it's all about communicating. So, I mean, if you don't communicate with the people and spread the word, then nobody knows about it.
Right. And the positive energy.
Exactly. And you have to have the positive energy. I mean, we are energy type people. We can feel where it's pleasant, it's positive energy, and we stay away from the negative energy areas.
Right.
And so it's like we always try to bring as much positive energy as possible.
Exactly. And when are you in the Whimsical Griffin?
Yes. The hours are Tuesday through Saturday from 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock. And on Tuesdays and Fridays, usually we have game night, which runs from 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock. And we have a Google Calendar, which is accessible on the website, whimsicalgriffin.com.
Can you spell that, please?
Oh, my. WHIMSICALGRIFFIN and .com.
Okay.
And there's a link to the Discord. And the Discord, you just join that. And there's over 50 people on there through the community in town, and Gold Beach and Crescent City, that are on there. It's like, hey guys, we're up for Magic the Gathering. It's just like, where can we go? If it's not Tuesday or Friday, and people are just like, hey dude, we got a spot.
Cool.
So,
what? Yeah. So a Discord, what is that?
It's a community chat.
Okay.
So you
Perfect.
could set it up where it's like, okay, it has different rooms. So Magic the Gathering chat, D&D chat. Like I said, we have 3 campaigns, so there's 3 separate rooms for each campaign. So it's a very organized chat room, basically.
Nice. Super simple, fun, relative, and a great fit for here in Brookings, Oregon. We are glad to have you, and glad to have you on KCIW.
Well, it's an absolute pleasure to be here.
Sweet. We'll do it again in the future because there's so many more parts that we have yet to even get anywhere near touching the topics of. So thank you again, and see Vincent at the Whimsical Griffin.
Yes, the Whimsical Griffin.
Tuesday through Friday.
Saturday.
Tuesday through Saturday. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And thank you.
Okay.